So James Gunn reboots the entire DC universe with a brand new Superman film, but is one film enough to do justice to an entire world of brand new characters and new dynamics? Well, let's find out with my review of Superman right now. Three years after his debut to the world, Superman is drawn into international conflicts, and his actions are questioned by the public and US government. Even Lois Lane hits him with hard questions in a combative interview. Yet when tech billionaire Lex Luthor plots to defame the Man of Steel and get him out of the way for good, Superman will have to rely on friends and superpowered allies to help save the day and rebuild his tattered image. So 2025 Superman comes out from writer-director James Gunn, who's also one of the heads of DC Studios along with Peter Safran, and been tasked for the last couple years of developing and launching a brand new DC interconnected universe for the big screen, after the previous DCEU had a lot of turmoil, a lot of turbulence, and some failed experience in some places. Definitely wanted a complete fresh start going into the whole thing. And kind of confession time, I've never been a real fan of the James Gunn stuff he's done with Marvel. I was not a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I saw the first two films. I didn't really respond to the writing, the humor, the characterizations. It just wasn't my flavor. It just didn't hit me in the right ways. But still, I was hopeful going in this whole thing because Superman's a very different type of character. You want to approach that the same way you would those characters. There's a lot of things I love about Superman, having picked up a lot of the comics the last couple of years. Joshua Williamson's Superman run, Phil Kennedy Johnson's Action Comics run. Fantastic, fabulous stuff that was just like pitch perfect for exactly what I want to get from the character of Superman. So, going the entire thing, being kind of excited as I kind of became acclimated to the style of the entire film, the costuming on Superman, the various other things. It's like, little by little, it's okay, it was coming together, it was looking impressive and various other things. And for the large part, I enjoyed myself in the film. It was fun. It's exciting. Great action sequences. The special effects are fantastic. They're just brilliant type of stuff. The look of the film, I like it very much. How they have a certain soft color palette, the entire thing. It's very much all very like comic book inspired, little Saturday morning cartoon elements to the whole thing, but everything kind of blends together very well in terms of production design, costume design, various other things. Like everything just kind of comes together as a complete world in a visual sense. But going in the entire film, it's like, okay, there's certain elements in the entire film that I do feel like they're kind of detriments to the entire thing of just making one film that wants to make a big splash and introduce a whole bunch of things to start off a brand new interconnected universe. And it's a kind of thing I felt that there's just a lot of stuff going on in the film. There's a lot of characters. You got like the Justice Gang. You got Green Lantern Guy Gardner. You got Mr. Terrific. You got Hawkgirl. And they're all really well portrayed. There's like really good characterizations there. And Nathan Fillion's just absolutely perfect as the self-absorbed jackass of Guy Gardner. Guy you just want to punch in the face, as anyone would know in the comics. But Eddie Gathegi, he portrays Mr. Terrific so marvelously well. He's got a really good substantive part in the entire film, involves some action, various other things. Really good stuff. He's like really good. These three characters are really well done, and like it's kind of a shame the fact that the film does have a lot of things going on, where it's like you get some things that they can breathe a little bit in the film. They have some stuff to do, and they have a lot of scenes and dynamics to work off of. But there's a lot of stuff that's like you could really just see these characters as being introduced in their own film. You just give them their entire one film to kind of breathe and kind of stretch out and kind of inhabit their own worlds. Get a little more depth involved with the entire characters there. So stuff like that's like there's good stuff, but there's elements in the entire film that I feel like there could be given more space to breathe, because like you got all these characters like the Daily Planet, but it's like you barely get to know any of them. Like you get to know like Jimmy Olsen, you get to know Lois Lane, but Perry White's barely involved in the entire film. Cat Grant's got like barely anything going in the film. There's like other people in the entire thing. Like they're there, but they're not really involved in the plot. And so it's like they're kind of periphery and they're kind of inconsequential. Like they don't really have anything to do in the film. They're like completely pointless. They really have in the beat of the entire film there. But I want to talk about David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan. They're very, very good together. Like Brosnahan, she's fantastic as Lois Lane. She just embodies every quality you want from that character. That fierce, feisty kind of quality she has. She's always digging for the story, digging for the truth, and she doesn't pull any punches. A lot of points in the film, like she's definitely going forward on things, and she's not going to pull away because she doesn't have support from this person or that person, or she's going right up against Clark in a certain scene where she's kind of interrogating him. It's like on certain things that Superman has done leading up to the film, there's certain controversies involved with what he's done in the world and stuff like that, and she's kind of poking at problems like, I want to get to the truth, I want to get to the heart of the matter here, I'm kind of get the hard questions on there because who else is going to ask them? And she does a very great job, and the fact is they got great chemistry. They fit so well together, and she's such a bright spot in the entire film. But David Corenswet, yeah, I think he embodies a quality of the character that's very good on film. I think it does more with the characterization than what is really in the script so much. Because, like, I feel the problem with my opinion on the film is that the fact is I have read a lot of these different stories that gives me more than just action. It gives me philosophy, it gives me ideology of Superman, and the film is much more focused on the actions. It's not as focused on what his philosophy is, that kind of earnest altruism, that kind of inspiring spirit. I never really felt inspired by Superman in the film, like he was something rising up above, not just like flying and whatnot, but actually kind of like this figure that inspires that much in people, because there's a lot of stuff in the film, like, again, dealing with a lot of kind of public outcry and backlash and some things here and there, where there's a lot more complicated elements in the entire world that's like, I just want to help people. I just want to save lives, but there's so many other things complicating the situation. We do kind of find out it's kind of other elements kind of muddying up the entire situation around him and whatnot, but I never felt like I got that feeling like when I saw Christopher Reeve in the character. It was just like absolutely 100% the iconic character of the role, but there's a lot of times like Brandon Routh, when he did the role, like not even just Superman Returns, but when he did the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths, or his moments in the entire film, where he's not doing action, but he's speaking things. He's sharing part of his soul with other characters, and the audience is like, that's Superman. That feeling, that projection of ideology and what he believes in and what's deep down within the soul of the character is so much what makes Superman who he is. It's not just him flying around with superpowers in a suit, bashing things around and saving people. It's the ideology behind why he does what he does. I don't feel like that gets as much exploration in the film because there's so many ideas at work that Gunn is trying to build out an entire universe in one film. He's introducing so many different things. There's so much science involved. There's so many things about Superman's backstory that are kind of glossed over, and they're kind of set up fast and kind of like glossed over, and they're kind of like here, what there, whatnot. They impact the plot, but they're not really kind of dealt with. They're not kind of ramifications. It's not like all the things that he kind of does soul searching about certain things that come up in the entire films. Like it impacts them, but then the plot's got to keep moving forward. And that's kind of the problem with the film. Like not enough things are allowed to breathe in the film. Like one of the things that put me off really quick in the film is like right at the beginning of the film, because Gunn says there are certain things he doesn't want to go back and show Krypton exploding and the ship going to Earth and blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. So he just puts text on the screen that tells you this is the history, this is what's happened, this, that, and the other thing. I guess you don't want to spend half the movie doing the origin story, but there's clever ways to do that in a visual sense to kind of get the audience involved with what you're doing. You could do like a prologue type of thing. I think back to like something like The Incredible Hulk, the reboot they did for the MCO, where they didn't do the Banner origin story, but they kind of did the entire thing throughout the entire opening credits sequence. You saw the entire thing play out to a certain degree, so you could do something that's a kind of a prologue montage type of thing that kind of gets you up to speed while showing you things and getting you to feel the entire world kind of expanding and developing around these characters and stuff like that. So like, here's some text on the screen for about 30 seconds to tell you what's going on, and just jump in the story, and there's some, I feel like there's clunky exposition dialogue. It's like certain things that had to be explained to the audience that don't really have to be explained as much to the characters, but we had to have people kind of tell you these things because you can't really, they don't have enough time to show you these things. So the things were putting me off in some places early on in the film. We're trying to establish stuff, but it just feels like expository, extraneous dialogue that doesn't need to be there for the other characters that are in the scenes. And the film just hits the ground running. It's like you have to try and keep up with the film because it's not going to slow down to help you establish and settle in and simmer the entire idea down. It feels like you're watching the sequel to the reboot instead of the reboot itself. But moving on to Nicholas Hoult, Lex Luthor, it's another character, another element in the film that I just felt a little lackluster. Like, I think he's a fantastic actor. everything I've seen him, I think he's just absolutely brilliant. I saw him in Nosferatu. I loved him in the X-Men films. I loved him in a lot of different roles over the years. I think he's just a bright, shining star. He's got so much potential in his entire career. I feel like the character's just not written terribly well. I just feel like it's just kind of like mostly a two-dimensional villain character. There's some stuff near the end of the film that kind of goes on about why I'm doing this, why I think that, but it's like it's all so over the top. I don't feel like I get any depth or dimension for the character. Like I'm someone who grew up Gene Hackman, Michael Rosenbaum, Clancy Brown in that role, and like there's so many different versions of that character out there, but there's so much interesting details and layers and stuff like that these actors have been able to put into those roles to expand out what the characters were and kind of know when to pull it back and kind of ground it and kind of give it more of that depth and that dimension, that kind of element overall, and just felt like I don't really get anything about Lex. I don't even get an idea of the relationship between Lex and Superman. It feels like they almost pretty much says like they've never even met before the beginning of the film, and Superman's been around for 3 years at the beginning of the film. So it's like there's not like a relationship developed there. There's not really a synergy developed between the two characters. Like he just hates him because he's Lex Luthor, and there's like no. It's not really anything built up about his backstory or what his philosophy is or what kind of a person he is. It's like there's no nothing behind it. Just like it's just a big over the top villain, and I just felt very disappointed by it. Like I know this guy can do phenomenal work. I know if you put it on the page, he can just make it come to life so much. And I just feel like he's trying to pull blood from a stone to a certain degree. It's like there's not layers on the script, and so he's got to kind of play it big to have anything to do in the whole thing. So I just felt like it's not Lex Luthor I was invested in. I didn't find him fascinating. I didn't find him intriguing. He didn't pull me into the film to feel like he's threatening, menacing, or whatnot. It just feels like stock billionaire villain character. It could have been anyone. It didn't feel like it demanded that it had to be Lex Luthor. It didn't really have those elements of playing the complexities between Superman and Lex Luthor that were so well versed in and stuff like that. We just want to see those elements crackle on screen and see how that dynamic, that chemistry, all that type of stuff go off between the characters, how each one defines the other, and that never really happens in the film. The two characters don't really have those elements and that history together to build that whole thing, and there's nothing really built up in terms of the philosophy of either really Superman or Lex Luthor about what they truly deeply believe in to have them come at odds in that regard on that deeper level. So it's like there's the superhero and there's the villain, and they just got to clash to a certain degree. It just felt like with so many things going on in the film, not as much things can get developed very well. Everything kind of feels like it kind of tops out about a 7 or 8 and nothing gets up to a 10. And that includes the entire score for the film done by John Murphy and David Fleming, where they do adapt the John Williams theme and kind of update to a certain degree, but I've never felt like the theme got to the crescendo it's supposed to get to. They play it, you hear some of the notes, some of the passages of the entire thing and whatnot, but I feel like it never got all the way up there. I felt like it kind of topped out about here and didn't get up here. I wanted to get up here and feel that entire thing, get that rousing feeling to it, just like, it just never, the entire film just never gets there. I just felt, I was just sitting there and he was like, yeah, it's enjoyable and whatnot, but I don't feel like I have any pull or desire to actually go see it again. It just didn't drive me forward. And it's like I said, action's great. It's some of the best Superman action we've gotten, but we've gotten so many superhero films with people flying in skies and blowing things up and shooting beams and various other things. Like, it's okay. I mean, it's fine. It's good Superman action. It's inventive type of stuff, but in this age where you can do anything with digital effects, you have to do with the story, you have to do with the characters, you have to impress on that level and not kind of rely so much on the visual effects to kind of wow the audience. You have to wow with the character quality and how the story goes along. And I felt like the story didn't really do much for me in any type of way, because it didn't really progress anything with the characters. It didn't like change where Superman was from the beginning of the film to the end of the film. Just like the world kind of changes a little bit around it because certain circumstances happen and whatnot. So it's like arcs are kind of inconsequential. There's not really a deeper philosophy with the characters, and it just feels like I've seen a lot of this stuff before. It just feels like there's a lot of stuff crammed in here, and it doesn't feel like there's enough stuff to kind of expand out and fill up the entire thing with a lot of substance overall. So it's like it just hits, and never really kind of gets to the peaks that I really feel like a Superman film absolutely has the potential to absolutely get to, that is inspiring and emotional, and has so many great peaks. Like, there's a lot of emotional moments in here and there, but it never really gets me all the way through it. I mean, I feel like they probably made Superman maybe more relatable to a modern audience, where he's kind of this character with a little bit of angst and kind of frustrated for how the entire world is him seeing kind of black and white, and it's in the world of shades of gray to a certain degree. But just like, it feels like you need Superman to be someone who rises above all that type of stuff. Show people that beacon. Be that larger character to kind of show people what they can aspire to become instead of kind of reflecting what they are. I think that just is a missing element, what Superman needs to do for a great story to penetrate into the heart of the audience and tell a really good story that kind of pushes you up towards those higher aspirations overall. So it's a fine film. I just feel like I'm just not wowed by it. It just feels like everything just kind of operates at a reduced rate because there's so much packed in here that doesn't get enough time to develop itself to a greater degree. So I saw this at an early screening. IMAX, the entire thing, so it's a very big screen, very good time in that regard in terms of technical quality. But once you guys see it, I'd definitely like to hear what you guys feel about the film yourselves, because I'm starting to hear a lot of great things, but some people are having some reservations, like I have, about the entire thing, where it just feels like there's some things that are overpacked and doesn't quite have as much kind of like direct focus on Superman being developed as this linchpin character in this universe. Just feel like there's like about half a dozen different linchpins in the entire universe they're trying to prop up to the same degree that it feels like you just kind of diminish the entire overall product in that regard. So guys, thanks for watching all the things. So again, post your comments once you have something to say about the entire film. Thumbs up if you enjoyed what I had to say about it. So there's a super thanks feature to contribute anything monetarily to the channel, along with Patreon. So guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I got some other great content coming up soon. So guys, thanks much. Take care. Bye-bye.